Ladies and gentlemen, and it is a big day for marathon gamers. I don't know if you guys can see behind OBS here. I just started recording, but it is huge news. We have a new video straight from Bungie about marathon. I opened it up just to make sure that it was actually a real Bungie video, and it is. So I don't know how to tell you guys how big this is. If you've been waiting for marathon news, this is obviously the first thing we've heard in a year and a half. So I'm really excited to see what's going on, and maybe, we'll get some new information or be able to confirm some rumors or deny some rumors. You never know. Um, but yeah, I just want to jump into this really quickly and give my live thoughts and feedback on this with you guys. Hopefully, it's entertaining. I'm really excited to hopefully hear some more about when we'll see some gameplay or anything like that. But let's go ahead and jump into this.
How's it going? My name is Joe Ziegler. I am a game director here at Bungie, and I am working currently on a little game that we like to call Marathon. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about that game and talk to you about what we've been up to, where we're going with that game, where we're going with talking to you as an audience, and maybe sneak peek a little bit of some of the stuff we've been working on.
Ooh, sneak
Just a
peek.
warning though, we won't be showing any gameplay footage today, but we will be showing
Okay.
a little bit of a sneak peek on some of the stuff that we've been working on.
Okay.
Yeah, so stick around if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Marathon, and let's get to it. Awesome. So, a lot of you might be asking the question, what is Marathon? Well, Marathon is our take on essentially an extraction shooter. And if you don't know what an extraction shooter is, it's a game type where you essentially go into a dangerous world, a world filled with essentially hostile mobs and players alike that are all
Hmm.
sort of existing in that environment, and a huge threat to you and challenge your ability to survive and get out alive.
Hmm.
The goal of every session is to get out alive. And along the way, you're going to be completing quests. You're going to be finding loot, loot that will either help you upgrade yourself or things that you can equip to yourself to make yourself stronger. If you get out alive, all that loot is yours to keep. If you don't, you will be losing all of that, and someone else will be able to take that from you. It's an intense game. So in that sense, we like to say it's a game that's not for everybody, but if you are interested in sort of having that intense survival experience and having a game where the stakes really matter and you feel like they're challenged to survive in a really, really harsh and interesting world, uh, then Marathon's just right up your alleys.
So based on that, the early kind of dev blog about this, the Vidoc, pretty much summed up that it's very Tarkov-like in terms of looting and having a quest system. The quest system is definitely new for being officially announced, but we already knew about the artifacts being lootable and things like that. So just some more confirmation. They're leaning more towards Tarkov style of extraction shooter than Hunt. But yeah, let's keep going.
So, yeah, hopefully that sounds appealing to you. The other thing to note about Marathon as a game is that we give you a lot of different tools to do a lot of different things inside the game. There's a
Good.
ton of loot that you can find. There is weapons, there's equipment that you can equip to yourself that changes your stats or gives you sort of
Stats,
tweaks some of the things that you can
eyes,
do inside of the game. There is
abilities,
utility consumables that are sort of like items that you can use inside of the world,
flashbangs, frags.
like things that are like mines or like grenades. Um, there's also consumables that help you sort of heal yourself and give you
Medkits.
utility in that sort of way. Um, but beyond that, there's also this other layer that is what we like to call our runners, which is sort of the template by which you equip all that stuff to. So
This is the
each
quote-unquote
runner
hero
has
shooter
like a
part.
small subset of abilities, and on top of that, you get to customize however you want. Thinking about sort of what you want to accomplish inside of the game, you might equip different types of gear to your character, to your runner, and then go on those runs with that gear in mind. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of different ways a run can unfold inside of our game with all those different pieces. There's also a lot of different sort of objectives and things like that that exist inside of the game. But of course, every single one of them comes with its own risk. And the risk is always present that if you don't get out alive, you will lose the things that you have on you. Talking a little bit about the world of Marathon, our game is obviously set in the IP of Marathon, which is one of Bungie's classic IPs. I think the first game released in 1994, so it was quite a
Well,
while
you got
ago.
that right.
Um, But what we're doing with that world is we're taking a lot of the familiar elements, especially a lot of the things around the mysteries and the kind of eeriness and sort of like the, how do I put it? Like the psychological kind of creepiness of the entire IP as it exists before. But we're layering on some elements that we think really help modernize it and also bring it to a new story that we can sort of, and a new world that we can sort of like continue to update and delight all of you with over the course of time. Where are we at right now in terms of making this game? Well,
Yeah. Tell us.
for the past couple of years, we've been doing a lot of aggressive change to the game, and we've been iterating pretty heavily. And during that time, we've been testing with a lot of players like yourself, also with creators. And so it's sort of insanely awesome. And I'm filled with gratitude when I think about it, because there's so many people who've just contributed by telling us, hey, this thing sucks or this thing is great, in a way that really has helped us diagnose, analyze, and shape and shift the game in great ways. Where the game is at right now, there's a variety of different things at different states inside of the game. Some things are a little bit more complete, like our environments are starting to come together in a really, really beautiful way. Some of the character models we've been iterating through, so they're coming together, but they're not fully there yet. Our enemy models are still kind of a little bit in an early state, so we're still iterating through and making those things land in a strong way. And a few of the items are still kind of coming online. So it's a little early to show you all of it as one piece. But as you've noticed, like as many of you are familiar with, if you're familiar with game development, all of these things are on track. They're not all together, but when they all do come together, we really, really are looking forward to showing you what that looks like, especially in play. Having said that, let me give you a sneak peek of a couple of images you might have been staring at that kind of exist in the background behind me. One of the images that is going to be showing up on your screen is of a runner that we have in our game. Its code name is currently Thief, which might give you an indication to how it plays inside of the game. If you notice, the character sort of creepily peeking around a corner in sort of that quiet moment before she makes her move. This is like sort of like the theme of that character in a lot of ways, and should give you a hint as to what kind of gameplay that character is going to be driving from. I'm trying to avoid giving away too many of the details, but there's a lot of exciting ones, and we've been testing this character recently, and I will say there's a lot of hilarious stories that come from it, but also very, very crazy moments that this character contributes to the game. Then the other image we're going to show you right now, which you're going to see on your screen, is that of a
That looks pretty
a
good.
character we codename Stealth. This runner
Looks like Aldrin.
is obviously a stealthy type of runner, and they sort of are in that space where when we talked about deception as a runner utility trait, they really embody it, and they're really hard to pin down, and you can see that they have the tools to stalk the battlefield and show up in ways that allow them to kind of take advantage. So I play this character actually a pretty decent amount. Can't say that I want it to be stronger, because it's probably a little strong right now, but by the time we get it to all of you, I'm sure it'll be in a good place. Yeah, so that's it for some of the previews we have. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a taste and moose bouche, if you will, of content that we have before we reveal a lot more for you in sort of the midst of 2025. Speaking of 2025 as well, like we said before, we've been really iterating with our players. And so in 2025, we're going to be expanding our playtests a little bit wider and wider. We're looking to add a significant amount of players to each of our milestones as we're going forward. And some of these big inflections are opportunities for you all to join us. We'll definitely let you know when that happens. But if you are interested in following us or learning more or sort of keeping up to date with all the updates that we have, definitely one of the ways you can do that is wishlist us on the storefronts that exist, whether it be Steam, on Xbox, or on PSN.
Wishlistings up.
All of them have wishlist buttons. If you click that, it will help us know that you want to learn more about the game, and we can
kind of crazy to have wishlisting up already, but
thank you all. I just want to say a lot of different things. Actually, I have so much gratitude right now that I don't know if I could fit it all in this video, but what I will say is that thanks to the team, the team has done an amazing job, and they continue to advocate incessantly for all of you, to make sure that the decisions we're making aren't holding back what you all care about. And every day there's endless debates focusing on what is the right way to continue to proceed to engage this game with you. Our goal is ultimately to make a game that all of you feel like is worth spending your time, and because time is so precious, like spending your time on, and really, really finding the fun and finding that storytelling space where you create the memories that you want to. Um, Second of all, thank you all for actually following us. I mean, we do this all for you. And so the interest that you show in sort of engaging with all of the content that we've created, with sort of wanting to learn more about our game, really fuels us on a daily basis. So I just want to say a very heartfelt thank you to you all. And we're excited to engage with you more in 2025 and beyond as we sort of bring this game to all of you to play. So thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Well, it's pretty much about what we expected, I would say. Um, Confirmation that next year they're going to be, continuing play testing. No mention of a release yet. So if it does come out 2025, it's probably going to be end of the year. If not, I mean, more likely early to mid 2026 is what we're looking at, right? But they've been doing the internal playtest with streamers, for the most part, and YouTubers pretty consistently over the last couple months. So that's going to keep continuing, it seems like. And then what I would expect is sometime next year we might see, if not a beta slash alpha gameplay, probably, I don't know, some larger groups going to test. They might reach out to, less known people. Probably not me, but maybe somebody like Jake or Bon might get an invite for one of those. Um, the information that they are kind of doing heroes, but not necessarily heroes. I'd have to go back and re-listen to it because they are customizable to a degree, it sounds like, but they're also set up with like the thief and the other one that had the cloak that looked like Aldrin. So they have like stealth archetypes. But I don't know how much of it would be Apex, where they're set with certain abilities that they always have, versus something like Dark and Darker, where you can kind of customize what abilities they have, and they're even though they are separated by class. Um, I guess what it's come down to is it more of a class thing versus an individual character thing? Um, Hard to say off of screenshots and a couple of sentences from Joe Ziegler, but you know Joe seemed pretty happy with where it's going right now. They had some turbulence in the past, it sounds like. So, the rumors that, the game's been rocky seem to be true, which isn't necessarily, an awful thing. They've been doing a lot of iteration, had a lot of people coming and playing it. So, hopefully that's kind of giving them the right direction that they want to take the game. Um, Nothing is perfect on the first try. So, the more they iterate, hopefully the closer they're getting. They're definitely going for a Tarkov style of extraction shooter, it seems like, which is about what I expected, kind of what I wanted. So I'm kind of all on board with that. It gives me a better idea of what, to talk about when we're predicting what the game's going to look like. Um, but yeah, I mean, they sound pretty heavily into the development still. Obviously, the maps aren't done, the monsters aren't done, the player characters still have work to be done. So they're still working on a lot of the graphical stuff, um, and probably the balancing too, from what they were saying. But in general, it seems like they have a solid idea of where they're going, and even if they haven't landed on a cohesive visual language that they're working with, they have the idea of what they want, which is good. The more we hear about this, the better. We're hearing about this now for the first time, a year and a half after announcement. And I don't think it's too long. It's been, a long wait, but I'm really happy we get to hear it now. Hopefully going forward, it's not as much of a blackout and we get to hear a bit more here and there. I wouldn't expect anything, weekly like Destiny 2 already being out, but maybe, quarterly or every 6 months we'll hear something. I don't know how close they are to another trailer, maybe we might get soon. I could see the Game Awards being, trailer time or something like that. But from the sounds of it, they want to wait until they've got everything as close to done as possible. So I don't have fingers crossed for direct gameplay this year, but we might hear some more things officially from Bungie now going forward, which is good. I'm glad to hear it. I think we'll do a bit of a deeper look and go back through this kind of pick it apart later on today or tomorrow, and see if there's anything else we can pick out from the background of their screenshots that seem interesting. But it seems pretty standard fare from first glance. Um, Kind of dark and darker character setups, with abilities per class, but also utility grenades, healing items, things like Hunt and Tarkov that anybody can bring, weapons that anybody can bring, and lootables on the maps that you can kind of take out and sell. As well as a quest system, which is closer to Tarkov. So all in all, I would say it's shaping up mostly like we expected. The hero shooter thing is still kind of hard to say without seeing exactly what those characters bring to the table. If those characters are just bringing like a template of a drone, of an AI unit, like people have kind of theorized, and then it brings along a set of abilities that it can use, kind of like Dark and Darker does, I could see that still being pretty positively received. But if they are very hard set characters, I don't know. It's going to take a lot more to bring it around because it's hard to balance something like that in an extraction shooter where you always have some kind of ability like that, like the invisibility that one of them seemed to have. It's a very, very weird thing to balance. But Dark and Darker's got around it, so I'm not totally against the idea of having these kind of like classed drones. Um, but I think that's something that we can, jump more into in a full discussion about this because I kind of stopped in the middle of my work day, in the middle of my lunch to come up here and kind of watch this with you guys and put a reaction out. So we'll do a bit more of a deep dive soon. But first reactions, that's the trailer, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you're feeling about it. I'm excited that we're getting some news at all, better than no news, even if it's not 100% what we thought. The rumors are kind of there, but it's somewhere in between the extremes of where we've been for the last couple of months, which is about what you'd expect, really. So I would say it seems like it's on track given all the play tests. We knew the game was being worked on and it's making progress of some kind. So it's just good to have an official statement from Bungie about this. I hope we see more, and I hope to see you guys again soon.